E.T.
What the heck?
That was a caterpillar.
Oh, I
That's pretty exciting on that one too.
What?
We'll go back and watch the video if you guys actually make the cut. This would be Tuesday, October 30th, take 3, as we attempt to get a class that has the fewest number of issues. Fingers crossed.
Wait a
Book report book coming up on failing already. Coming up on Friday. Make sure I see it by then. Charger challenge in 2 days. So make sure you stay after school if you're part of that one. So we should be good there. We will go to the library on Thursday in case you just need to get a book. And there we go. Yesterday, I believe we picked people and had our 6 volunteer people. Hopefully, Burke and Koontz were not one of them since they're dead. We'll find out. Who do we have for stanza number 1? There's one. Stanza 2, stanza 3, stanza 4, stanza 5, stanza 6. Winning. All right, so that works out for me. Ooh, speaking of which, as we get into it from the Uber, we were just talking about stanzas, and to make sure that we're not all dumb together, what is our definition of a stanza? So we're looking for? Nicely done, the paragraph of the poem. And then in this particular one, Ice Ray, how many stanzas do we have in our poem Caterpillar?
We have 6 stanzas.
Nicely done, we do. Technically, we just counted off to 6. If you're paying attention, that kind of made that one easy. As we go through, I know did we get to stanza 2 with you guys yesterday?
Yes.
Yes,
ma'am. Yes.
I
You
think
guys
we were
might.
starting.
Yeah, did we talk about dandelions?
No, Jesse read
Okay.
the bell rang.
That was right. So I just get an idea of where we stopped. So we got through probably all of stanza 1 then. All right, we'll go back. There's a good chance some of you guys have slept since yesterday or blinked, and I know how your brain cells work. Every time you blink, there's one. And so we'll go back and reread the poem, and then we'll go through and tear it apart. All right, so stanza 1, uno stanzo, I think that's Spanish. You may begin.
Under this loop of honeysuckle, a creeping colored caterpillar. I gnaw the fresh green hawthorn spray. I nibble it leaf by leaf.
Dose.
Down beneath grow dandelions, daisies, old man's looking glasses. Rooks flap, croaking across the lane. I eat and swallow and eat again.
Here come raindrops helter-skelter. I munch and nibble unregarding. Hawthorn leaves are juicy and firm. I'll mind my business. I'm a good worm.
When I'm old, tired, melancholy, I'll build a leafy green mausoleum.
Mausoleum. Nailed it.
Close by here on this lovely spray, and die and dream the ages away.
Some say worms win resurrections, with white wings beating, flutter. But with wings or a sound sleep, why should I care? Either way, I'll miss my share.
Under this loop of honeysuckle, a hungry, hairy caterpillar. I crawl on my high and swinging seat, and eat, as one ought to eat.
Sorry, I was able to touch the words as you went along. I was entertaining myself. Well done, team. 4th period. Yay.
He's a fighter.
Not going that far. It's just a high five, not applauding. Don't get a big head. All right. Then let's see how well we can go back to the stuff we hit yesterday. Let's make sure it's still in your brain. You've not completely dumbified yourselves. Did we try?
Did we beat them?
We're not done yet. Did you not notice the class isn't over yet?
Beat them?
So, under the loop of honeysuckle, a creeping colored caterpillar, I gnaw the fresh green hawthorn spray. I nibble it leaf by leaf. Ooh. Yesterday, we talked about alliteration, because you guys had to go do those way at the beginning of the year with your whole interviewing thing. We talked about those. Where Peyton, if you remember what our definition of an alliteration is from yesterday. Works for me. Multiple words in a row starting with the same sound. And Sam, we have our first example of alliteration in this stanza. We're going to have a whole bunch from the stanza, but our first one's here. What's our example of alliteration?
The second sentence.
Which says, good job, Sam. By the way, there's a lot of people whose names are alliterative, because a lot of times parents like to give their kids alliterative names. If you've ever seen any of the mini superhero movies, a lot of superheroes have a little name, like Peter Parker would be one, Hulk, Hogan, Green Goblin. And so they'll pop up. They use a lot of those things like that. Iron Man. No, not that one. But there's other ones that will pop up quite often. So pay attention to the alliteration thing. And then we talked about Clark Kent. Good job. Batman. No, still not that one. We get honeysuckle. And what is honeysuckle?
It's a nasty little thing you suck on.
Flower you can drink from.
There you go.
flower.
It's the one that's the flower that has the actual little honeysuckle thing that's called that because you can actually suck on it. Once again, make sure you're grabbing the right thing.
Grandma
It looks
can.
like a pine cone. Don't try and suck on the end of it. That's called sap, which is not honeysuckle. And then
Tastes like syrup.
we talked about hawthorn spray. What is hawthorn spray?
It's
It's a leaf that looks like somebody sprayed it.
Now, here's like kind of the question I'm going to ask you on the quiz on Friday. I will tell you, hawthorn spray is a type of leaf. What evidence in the poem would you use to prove that if you had no idea? That's the question I'll ask you. So how would you help us, Webb?
It says I gnaw the fresh green.
So the fact that it talks about the caterpillar gnawing it, and it's fresh, and it's green. Herring?
It says he nibbles it leaf by leaf.
And I would take that too, nibbling it leaf by leaf away. So that's what I want you to be able to do, to be able to figure out those clues to go back and do it. Speaking of the eye, we got to the speakery bits in there. In Hawaiian, we talked about a speaker the other day. What's our definition of a speaker?
Wait, go back.
You're Hawaiian.
Yeah, that's
We
my
talked about speakers in a poem. What is the definition of a speaker in a poem?
The person that tells the story.
Like the one right up there.
Okay, no, not the person that writes the story, but
Okay.
the person that
There's a chance you might have written it down right next to your elbow.
Oh. The character talking to the audience.
Teamwork. And so it's going to be the character in the... I know, it's like those notes come back to help you. Who would have thought? The character in the poem talking to us to help us out. Jackson, who is our speaker in this poem?
The caterpillar.
Nicely done. Yes, that's our caterpillar. And our caterpillar only cares about one thing, Harvey. What's the one thing our caterpillar cares about? Harvey. Well, in the poem, let's back up. There's only one activity he does really so far that he seems to really care about.
Oh, he eats.
Nicely done, Harvey. You're making it way more difficult than you needed to. So I put my little nom 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 nom. And so that's all our caterpillar cares about is eating, and it brings him mucho happiness. So, once again, I think I nailed Spanish on that one too.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. I practiced.
You could teach with Senora Compton.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
That's
fun.
not real Spanish. Senor is a made-up word. Stanza 2, we're going to find that there are dangers in Caterpillar Land. So let's get to our dangers in Caterpillar
Are you gonna
Land.
kill him?
Possibly.
No.
Down beneath grow dandelions, daisies, old man's looking glasses. Rooks flap croaking across the lane. I eat and swallow and eat again. Oh, that last word, not because I'm fancy, although I am. Why pronounce that last word as again as opposed to just again? Malachi?
That rhymes with lane.
Nicely done. You have to do the whole rhyming thing, which we're going to get to on Thursday with rhyme scheme. If I had flip-flopped those lines and it said, I eat and swallow and eat again, rooks flap croaking across the... There you go. So that's how the whole changing of the pronunciation thing works. Let's see. Oh, do you guys know what... come here, stick. Dandelions are?
Yes, the weeds that grow in my
What
yard.
does it look like?
It's
A
yellow.
yellow.
So that's what a dandelion is. So it's down below where we have our little leafy thing. And I didn't realize I was going to blow kids' minds, but I found this out as I was going over the poem with them, that dandelions, this, is the same thing as this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the same thing. I was gonna
That
say
grows
flower.
the other one.
And so the way it works out, once again, is that this is when it starts off, and then when it's ready to bloom, it closes up, and then all of a sudden, when it's ready to go, and turns into the little white one, which then pops up, looks like that. But they're the same things. When you take that and go, and you blow into it, and then magically, weeks later, a whole bunch of those other ones pop up, and you're like, how did that happen? It's the same thing. So I had kids earlier, when I told them that, they're like, you're full of lies. And I'm like, well, I am, but this is not one of them. That's an actual truthy thing. And so I had kids like had no idea. I thought everyone knew that.
That's
Apparently,
sad.
I was wrong. So it happens. No, and no, we're not hearing your wonderful dandelion stories. And I know you were excited. I used to eat them all. I could care less. It's fine. We all have our issues. And daisies. What are daisies?
Flowers.
With white petals.
Nicely done again. By the way, if you're unfamiliar with these, they're the ones that pop up in TV shows and movies whenever someone's in love with someone else. Like, he loves me not, he loves me, I could care less. That is a flower that they pull the petals off. Those are daisies. Here's where our ability to read poems comes in. Because if I were to ask you, what are old man's looking glasses? You would say,
Glasses.
I'm scared to answer.
A monocle.
Because the answer is not glasses. Because using our poem, it says, down beneath it grow And then it lists things that are growing. We have dandelions, type of plant. Daisies, type of plant. Old man's looking glasses.
Oh, it's a
Type of
plant!
plant.
Let's see how it works out there. We're now saying all these things grow. Growy thing, growy thing. Old man dropping stuff. That's not what we're going to. It's just a type of flowery thing. Why is it called that? I don't know. Old people name things weird. And so it's called old man's
It's
looking
like
glasses.
What do you
So-
name stuff weird for?
So there are different things that grow beneath it. And then we got the Amira, once again, who is our speaker in this particular poem. Nice one. So now we have our caterpillar. But now we introduce a danger into Caterpillar Town. And what's our danger?
Birds.
A rook. What is a rook?
Bird.
Chess piece.
It is a chess piece, but
A
not as
frog.
scary as you might think. A frog? Why do you say frog?
Because it's croaking.
Now here's once again, our Friday quiz would come up when I would say, a rook could be a type of frog. Is there evidence in the poem to prove otherwise?
No.
Lion?
It says flap
And what does flapping imply?
wings.
And so unless you take your frog and throw it really high and attempt to get it to the caterpillar, and it's like, I'm not going to care about the caterpillar, and it goes flying through the air, then that's not going to work out. So flapping indicates wings, which indicates
Birdie.
Well, Mr. Brovicast, the croaking. When you talk, birds have pretty voices.
they
Not
usually
really.
do, except for rooks, which is a type of crow or raven, and they're the ones that go, You're like, did someone just strangle a pig? Oh, so that's the sound that they make, which is not the really pretty birdie sound. Oh, with this, why is that a danger in Caterpillar Town?
Because they
They
eat
eat
caterpillars.
Nice done. So, we'll pretend for a moment that you're a smart caterpillar. I mean, you guys are like, Mr. Broderick, I could never work that hard. But if you were a smart caterpillar and the birds go flying by, what would you do as a smart caterpillar?
Hide under a leaf.
Yeah, run and hide. Our caterpillar does not do that. What does our caterpillar do?
Eat.
Shakes his little fists up like he's like, and shakes his little fists. Couldn't resist. Shakes his little fists up there, and he just keeps on. Now you understand why first period and third period have so many issues.
They're like, learning is just so entertaining. I can't contain myself.
You're doing a good job so far. Way to be slightly better than third period.
We're trying.
Don't let it go to your. I know. I can see you guys like are just bursting with all kinds of excitement for the learning. We haven't even gotten to like the rest of the good parts yet. We're still like just the beginning of a poem still. Yeah, I know. Poetry, good part, you would think, but have faith in me. So he eats and swallows and eats again. And then, Mika.
So, croaking can actually mean something's dying.
True.
So, it could be like birds just dying.
But I'm guessing if we were to read the poem, it would not make much sense.
Poison pillars.
Rooks flap dying.
I know. Mr. Bro, that doesn't even make sense. Fourth period. Channeling right here in third period. And then we get to stanza 3, and we find out there's new dangers in Caterpillar Town. It's not just angry dying birds.
It's water.
Here come raindrops helter-skelter. I munch and nibble unregarding. Hawthorn leaves are juicy and firm. I'll mind my business. I'm a good worm. Once again, Amira, who's our speaker in the poem.
The caterpillar.
Nicely done. What is our new danger in Caterpillar Town?
Rain.
Rain. Now, with rain being a danger to caterpillars, it is not because caterpillars are made out of witches and they worry about getting wet and melting. I know, popular misconception. But there's another reason why caterpillars have to be afraid of rain.
They're like giant.
Mika?
They're like giant, like, buckets of rain just like falling down and they can drown. Point is they can drown.
Close. The only problem with that is where we usually find caterpillars.
And
On the
trees.
ground.
In trees up in the air. So if a caterpillar is drowning, we're all drowning first. And there's probably a really big boat going by with 2 of each animal. So it's not as much of a worry about the drowning if you're on the right idea. Harvey?
It's like when you're at a water park and you know the big buckets that always dump every 5 minutes, but those are just dumping everywhere.
Not a bad analogy. And so you have to worry about falling off the leaf. We're going to use our stunt caterpillar. It's okay. He's wearing a helmet to keep him safe. And so if he were up there on the leaf and the rain begins, it's like, oh, it's so much fun. It's like a little spa. Then all of a sudden, like, no, it's picking up. No, Thank goodness he had his helmet.
Why is that?
And so because of that, it keeps our caterpillar. That's what he. Now, Once the caterpillar hits the ground, then the drowning can come in and you have to worry about them getting eaten and stuff like that. But it's the initial, the raining and the bouncing, which, those of you who are pretending in your heart to be the smart caterpillars, what would you do when the rain starts?
Run.
Get in the tree.
Yeah, you go and hide. I mean, you can't go indoors, you're a caterpillar, but you can at least go run and hide. What does our caterpillar do?
Keep eating.
He keeps on eating once again.
Luckily, he
And
survived.
just shakes his little fists up there and just keeps on nomming.
He's a good one.
But the worm can't shoot.
Up here, where it says, I'm a good worm, which seems to confuse you, like, Mr. Roby, I thought we were talking about caterpillars. Where'd the worm come from? There's a reason why we refer to the caterpillar as a worm in that word. Why use worm as opposed to caterpillar? Holly?
Because it rhymes with firm.
There you go. If not me, I'm a good caterpillar. And it's like, there's all kinds of awkward. So even though, yes, we're aware caterpillars and worms are different. One of them has legs and one of them's a caterpillar. They still work out there because the whole writing thing. Don't make it that easy. It's a Tuesday. The line where it says, I'll mind my business. It has two meanings to it. Because, poems. One, let's pretend our caterpillar works at a company called Caterpillar Co. in Caterpillar Town. And he's trying to work his way up through the business. What is the one thing that Caterpillar Co. does in Caterpillar Town?
Eat.
Eat. Like, we're good at eating. You need something to eat, and we're going to do it. And so he's trying to work his way up. He's like, I'm going to mind my business. I'm a good worm. I'm going to get promoted to like manager and CEO of Caterpillar Co. The other one is, if anyone ever tells you to mind your business, what are they telling you to do?
Stay out of my stuff.
There you go. All these other caterpillars are running and screaming and hiding and like, hey, what are you doing? Run and hide. He's like, whatever. And he throws his little hands up in their face. He's like, you mind your business. I'll do my thing. I'm going to get promoted. You go run and hide. But then he realizes you can't work at Caterpillar Co. forever. Eventually you have to step down and retire. And it brings him some sadness.
That's me.
That's when you turn to
When I'm old, tired, melancholy, I'll build a leaf green mausoleum close by here on this lovely spray and die and dream the ages away. Two big words to get to first. Melancholy. Do you guys know what melancholy is?
sad.
Now, it's more than just a sadness. Melancholy is a sadness where you feel that you are missing something, like there is a loss connected to it. For most of you, the time that you feel melancholy is beginning of fifth period, where you feel like you have lost a thing that you used to have, like recently, and it's just no longer there. That's that feeling of melancholy you have, and it doesn't happen again until the next day, probably right around fourth period. And so that's what he's feeling now, is this melancholy, this loss of doing the one thing he loves. Because what's the one thing our caterpillar loves?
Eating.
Nicely done.
Why does that mean?
And then our other thing is a mausoleum. You guys know what a mausoleum? Wow, I'm excited about mausoleums. Ice Ray?
Isn't it some kind of like place that they have dead bodies?
It
or
is.
something along those lines?
It's an above-ground dead person burying place.
I love
And
it.
so it's oftentimes you'll find them, well, hopefully you'll find them in cemeteries, like in my backyard. That's probably going to be but it's anytime you have a lot of money and don't be buried underground, you can be buried in these. Also in the South, in like Louisiana and Florida, you have to be buried in these because you can't be buried underground. Not because of a weird law, but because you can't have basements in Florida. Because the ground level of water is so high, you can't dig down. So because of that, you have to be buried above ground, because if not, the bodies get all floaty. Apparently that's creepy. So everyone's buried in these above ground things. Now, our caterpillar is claiming that he's building his own. Mr. Broviak, he's full of lies. He could never lift one of those bricks. You're right. He could never lift one of those bricks. But he's not full of lies. He's full of metaphors. Because he's saying he's building his own... Oh, wait. You guys know what the lovely spray is he's talking about?
Yeah.
His chrysalis.
The hawthorn spray. So he's saying he's building his own death thing here on this leaf. And what death thing is he building?
The chrysalis.
There you go. He's building his very own thing. He's going to go in there and die and dream the ages away. Mr. Broviak, caterpillars don't die in there. Well,
they do.
you're right, but does a caterpillar come out of it?
No.
No. So as far as he's concerned, caterpillars die on the inside.
They merely turn into mush.
And it turns out there are rumors in Caterpillar Town of something that keeps happening to all the caterpillars. And he's heard all these rumors the caterpillars keep telling each other, which is, some say worms win resurrection with white wings beating flitter flutter. But wings or a sound sleep, why should I care? Either way, I'll miss my share.
So he's a moth caterpillar.
So the first thing is, big word, resurrection. What is resurrection?
To come back to life like a zombie.
There you go. It's when you come back to life in some way. It doesn't just mean come back to life. Like for some of you guys, you can resurrect your B points when you had a lot and make a bunch of poor choices, like talking during class. And you go down to like 0 and you can resurrect your points by getting them back. It just means bringing something back to life in some way. He's heard rumors in Caterpillar Town that after caterpillars die and get buried, that they get resurrected, meaning they come back to life and roam the world. But not only do they come back to life and roam the world, they have a superpower. And what superpower do they have?
Flying.
Where's your evidence?
It says
Flitter,
white
flutter,
wings.
flutter.
With the evidence, with white wings, beating, flitter, flutter. Now, by the way, we have a name for a thing that we bury, and then all of a sudden, after time, it comes back out of the ground and roams the earth. We call those
Zombies.
Zombies. So our caterpillar has heard rumors of flying caterpillar zombies. That after you die, you then come out of your mausoleum and you continue around. Plus, flying caterpillar zombies don't eat the one thing that he cares about. Because what's the only thing he cares about?
Leaves.
Leaves. Flying caterpillar zombies don't eat leaves. They eat brains of flowers. And so have you ever seen they land on the flowers like this little tongue that goes blah, and they go brains, 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 brains. They slurp brains out. They slurp out all the brains. The flower then fly off to the next one. There's a chance some of you are slightly smarter than a flying caterpillar, so we know we're not talking about flying caterpillar zombies. What we're actually referring to are
Actually,
butterflies,
since white wings
moths,
is a moth.
stuff like that. So that's what he's referring to. Ooh, and that last part when he says either way, whether he stays dead forever or comes back as a flying caterpillar zombie, either way he'll miss his share
He can't eat leaves.
because the one thing he cares about is eating leaves. Mr. Brovicast, he's still going to eat. He is, but not the
Not
one
leaves.
thing he cares about, which is, of course, leaves. Ooh,
Opinions change.
this stanza chock full of alliteration. It is like a chocolate chip cookie if chocolate chips were alliteration and this was a poem. I don't think that worked out as well in my head. It sounded really smart when I was saying it in my brain. Our first example, or an example of alliteration that's in there,
Some say worms.
some say would work for me. And another one.
With
With
white
white
wings.
wings.
With white wings would work.
Worms.
Flitter flutter would work.
Worms.
Sound sleep.
Sound sleep I would also take.
Miss
Nice
Ryan.
line. And words with.
Worms win.
Words.
What?
Worms win. What is going on?
Worms with. He was having a stroke. It's okay. And then we get to our final stanza. Under the sleeping honeysuckle, a hungry hairy caterpillar, I crawl on my high and swinging seat and eat, as one ought to eat. So at the very end of it, I know, it's like it connects full circle. He says, at the end of all of this, after all the rumors and all the thinking about the future, I'm going to focus on doing the one thing I'm good at. And the one thing I'm good at is
Dying.
he said, just stick with the one thing you're good at, which is losing B point. Oh, wait, no. Eating. Focus on the one thing you're good at, which is eating. Oh, when it says the high and swinging seat, what is his high and swinging seat? The leaf that he's sitting on. And then he's going to keep doing the one thing he's good at. Oh, and there is a good example of an alliteration in the stanza, and a bad example of alliteration. What is our good example?
Hungry hairy caterpillar.
Hungry, hairy caterpillar. What is our bad example that would cause me to throat punch you? Sam? And why is eat a bad example?
It's the same word.
And if you try to do that, say, on the quiz on Friday, when I say, give me an example of alliteration, you're like, monkey, monkey, monkey. So you can't just repeat the same word over and over again and count that as your alliteration. So that gives me, so there we did our alliteration. We got to the end, we talked about him eating, and we get to go third period. Put your left hand in the air, take your right hand, and go, high five us! Nicely done. Wow, you guys did it at the same time. Almost proud of you. Don't let it go to your head. But the thing you get to look forward to is tomorrow, me taunting third period non-stop. That's the best gift of all.